Jordan River School District from Fox 13 today reported 500 for Jordan School District now in quarantine. Kids quarantined. Jordan River School District. Forgot to mute the 500. Are we going to see this on the stats? Oh, they didn't make it in time for today, Travis. We'll have to wait till tomorrow. Right, I'm sure we'll see it tomorrow. So let me add this to the other video. Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell getting late to the news from ABC4 News Utah this time around for Friday, 4th of September. Do you remember? Alright, so doTERRA is a pyramid scheme scam with a product that causes damage. Don't get involved. Stay away. Salt Lake City moves to yellow phase. And as they move to yellow phase, where are they? 93 students have been tested with coronavirus. And over 100 students at Sand Ridge Junior High test positive for coronavirus. And Salt Lake City goes to yellow. So I wonder what's going to happen now that Salt Lake City's going to yellow. Oh, we're not going back anymore. Yeah. Okay. Just going to keep on pushing forward, sending those kids to their deaths. Dixie's keeping their name. The police are upset about a Salt Lake Tribune cartoon comparing them to the KKK. No, not the KKK, the SS. Or the Confederates of Dixie. Which then became the KKK after the Civil War. And the most horrifying of them all, Utah now has a company with an app that you want to stay away from. Do not use it. Let their company go bust so that it doesn't get used. If you give them money, if investors give them money so that they don't need you as a customer, then I don't know how they're going to use it other than forcing us through a Windows upgrade. It tracks your consumer spending. China's already used this app, and they've upgraded it to where they now control people's lives with it. It's now in Utah for an app. See, first it tracks your behavior, and oh, isn't it fun? I get to see how I spend, as if you don't know yourself. But then they keep track of the information also. And so when the government says, hey, that sounds cool, we want to know who's buying what and who we can punish for not voting for a certain president. See where it happens? And so in China, they track what you purchase. And if your social level does not require you to purchase, you go up to buy it, nope, denied. Because your social level's not high enough. That's what this program will lead to. Don't let him fool you into thinking it's going to help you in some way. If you don't know how to track your consumer spending, consider getting a professional to help you, not some app that can be used against you to control your spending in the future. Salt Lake City mayor says we need to get rid of the homeless because the Operation Red Map, or not, Red Map was gerrymandering. Operation Rio Grande was a complete and utter failure. Have you forgotten about Operation Rio Grande? Let me try to sum up the highlights. Salt Lake City wanted to get rid of the homeless. So they thought, hey, we'll create an operation to clean up the homeless by calling it beautification of the city or something like that. And so they had the Gateway built. And so the Gateway Mall with all the stores and the big theater was built right across the street from the homeless shelter. And then homes started being built, and the homeless, guess where they went? To Panhandle, right in front of the stores at the Gateway. And so the companies were furious. We got these homeless people scaring away our customers. They complained to the government. Get rid of them. Okay. They knew all along what was going to happen. They set the whole thing in motion, and the companies who bought businesses there either fell for it or helped participate to get rid of the homeless. The homeless had 1,100 beds at the shelter there, and there was still an overflow of at least 1,000. Lots and lots of people lining the streets, as those with beds had beds. And so a member of the legislature comes in, spends one night in this comfy insecurity with police, spying on the homeless with an observation camera, because it was across the street. He couldn't see everything going on. He had to have cameras mounted all over the place to monitor things. And I'm sure he stayed up all night. And he went back to the legislature and he said, I know exactly what we do. You know, Mormon revelation. And so here's the fruits of his revelation. He was going to arrest them. They're going to do a raid and throw them in jail. So the Salt Lake County Jail emptied out a whole ton of beds in the cells and put the people into the other jails in the surrounding Utah. And then the raid occurred, Operation Rio Grande. But they didn't catch everybody. Didn't have enough police officers for the raid. And so they had to continue to hire other agencies to come in and join in the raid. Pay overtime. So by their fruits you shall know them. I guess it was a good thing, huh? And so the homeless were then reported of being seen scattered all over Utah. As Operation, or the Rio Grande shelter became a military zone. They put up a fence, denied traffic. You had to have an ID specific to that location. If you wanted to receive assistance as a homeless person, they took your fingerprints, just like a prisoner, and gave you a special homeless ID badge, just like the SS in Nazi Germany did for the Jews and others, all given different categorizations and classifications, symbols to wear around town to be identified. And because the homeless scattered, and because the mental facilities didn't have enough beds for them, they were forced to build shelters. They had no intention of building new shelters to replace the homeless. It was their full intention to eliminate the homeless permanently. And it failed because they didn't think it through. And so then they decided, okay, we'll make 3 new shelters, one for women, one for men, one for families. And they went around and asked, who wants these homeless shelters? And everybody in Utah said, hell no, get them out. We don't want them here. And so they had to make up their own mind and say, all right, well, we're going to build them wherever we're going to build them, and if people don't like it, tough. And so one of them, the men's shelter, is built by the Salt Lake County Jail and Valley Behavioral Health main offices. Isn't that convenient? They get services. And the only problem is, you think, well, 3 shelters, that's more than one shelter with 1,100 beds, right? The total number of beds for the 3 shelters came out to 700. They were 400 short for the number of beds from the first shelter, which, like I said, had hundreds, if not over 1,000, homeless lined in the streets. And so then the winter came when the shelters were finally built, because it takes time to build those shelters. And as they were getting near to finishing, the contractor said, oh no, we ran out of money. We need more money. Even though we won the grant saying that we can build it for this much, we ran out of money. We need more money. It was millions of dollars. And so they extorted the government, and the government caved and gave in to the extortion demands, and they got their money. They finished the building. And then the police were now rounding up the homeless. The new shelters have been built. Get the hell off our streets. And they were placing them in the shelters, which again were IDing them, fingerprinting them, giving them little special badges to identify who they are as homeless people. And obviously there was not enough room in the inn, and so people were complaining. And it was winter time, and so yeah, over 400 people less were unable to have beds that winter because they shut down the 1,100 bed place. And Utahns protested. How could you treat the homeless like this? So Governor Herbert called them domestic terrorists. How dare you protest us? And arrested the protesters for protesting. And then they finished the men's one and forgot to adjust the lights, traffic crossing lights, and homeless were getting struck by cars because there was no crosswalks or lights to notify the cars of the homeless people walking by. And so, yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. Last I heard, they're going to build more. 3 more. Maybe 400 beds this time. You just want to cry. This is how much they hate the homeless. This is how they treat the homeless. They claim they get revelation to fix the problem, and it doesn't get fixed, it gets worse. And then they go back and claim, oh, we've got an idea on how to fix the new problem that you've forgotten that we caused in the first place. Utah has been acting like Trump long before Trump. It's just they don't act as crazy as Trump. They've got the old conservative mentality rather than the new crazy Trump. The showman Trump. And that seems to be your update. So the University of Utah is trying to get rid of the Utah University's police department for not handling the murder that occurred there, as they tried to cover it up. So, and yeah, for the last 2 days, red, and Salt Lake City's going to yellow. Again, you can't do it this way. Herbert was told, don't do it this way. It will last longer. If you deal with Utah as a whole, shut down all of Utah and keep it shut down until there's no more reports of viruses. Then you keep your borders closed because the rest of the nation ain't doing it. And then you let your people go back in moderate terms, being cautious, making sure they wear masks just in case to prevent a potential outbreak. And when you find an outbreak, you immediately shut down the whole area. He didn't bother to do any of that. When he shut down, he didn't shut down. He let businesses choose for themselves whether to shut down or consider themselves necessary businesses. And like I said, 100 in the junior high, and then another 100 getting reported for the other schools. And then Dixie wants to remain Dixie.